and have a great Purim. I love you all. And let's make the best of the situation, okay? Shalom, shalom.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. Israel we go. I'm very impressed with our guest. First time he's on our program. Eli Paley is an alumnus of the Chrmn Yeshiva, is owner of Mishpacha Media Group, a publisher of the Mishpacha Weekly Magazine for the Charedi and Dati sectors in Israel and abroad. It's in Hebrew and, of course, in English, especially in the United States. He's a businessman, social activist, chairman of the Paley Family Foundation, which supports and promotes Torah centers and social initiatives in the Charedi community, a member of the Jewish Funders Network, and is active in several philanthropic organizations. And tonight we're speaking about some of the Paley Family Foundation in trying to integrate the Charedi community into Israel's national security landscape in light of October 7th. So, Purim Sameach, thank you for joining us.
Purim Sameach, by us good morning, by you good night. Yeah.
Exactly. We finished the Megillah tonight. You finished, well, it's Purim morning in Israel, so we appreciate you being here. And I've watched some of the work that you've done over the course of time, and one of the reasons why we invited you on Purim night or Purim morning, depending where you're listening or watching our program or live on YouTube as well, is the fact that Purim represents the unity of the Jewish people. Because before Purim, that's what Haman said, the Jews are scattered and they're not really one unit. But we are. The unity is what brings us together. Esther put together the Jewish people. You started an initiative as part of your foundation, the Paley Foundation, to bring about unity, especially in the Charedi factor. In Israel, it's not so easy. There's a lot of tensions. The war changed things, but you want to make sure it's permanent. So tell us about what you're doing.
Yes, I think that over the last year, we're witnessing a very big tension between different sectors in the Israeli society, including Charedim and non-Charedim. Even though that most of the protest wasn't directly against Charedim, but under the surface was very clear that part of the tension is when people spoke about the future of Israel, especially after the election. So I think the demographic shift in the Israeli society and the fact that the Haredi society is growing really creates some concern by some of the Israelis. And I was very, very concerned about this dispute among the Israeli society. I really lost sleep over last year with a big concern about what's going to happen. And at some point, when October 7th, the massacre and the tragedy of Simchat Torah happened, I told people that in a way I became a little bit more optimistic. And people ask me, how can you be optimistic after such a horrible situation? And I said that my main concern really was, as you mentioned, the unity of the Jewish people. And we know that without, as you mentioned from the Megillah, Yeshno Am Echad Mefuzar Umeforad Ben Amin, the main argument about the Jewish people, if you want to weaken the Jewish people, is to speak about the Machloket and Mefuzar Umeforad. And I felt that in a way, the tragedy of October 7th, the Simchat Torah, create a new sense of unity in the Israeli society. And that made me to be a little bit more optimistic. And we even saw immediately the reaction and the fact that if by October 7, we were witnessing such a weakness of our power and the enemies were able to do horrible things. So right once this changed, you saw immediately the effect that once the Jewish people became closer, you see that the power came back and we were witnessing miracles and victories one after another. And I asked myself, specifically regarding this issue, there is no question that the concerns about the security of Israel needs to be re-evaluated. And over the years, we all learned to live with the agreement that Charedim will be out of this challenge in the Israeli society. And it's what I think was agreed over the past 75 years. Everybody agree that I spoke in many occasions with the key people in the army and the security institutions in Israel, and the main answer I got over this conversation was, we don't really need the Charedim in the army. We just have to keep in mind that the concept between before October 7 was that the army is trying to shorten the period of time that people are going to the army. We were under the conception that we need a small and smart army. We don't need so many people in the army. And to integrate Charedim into the army, it's a challenge that nobody really wanted to address or to take. So the main answer I got from people was, the army really doesn't know Charedim, even though that politician in the past decade made it as an issue again and again, and even some parties were elected with the agenda of the draft of Chok HaGiyus. But from the security perspective, it wasn't a real concern for the army. And I think what changed by October 7 is not just that we're now witnessing a new situation and a new need of reevaluation of the need of security. Also, as you mentioned, we are facing a new level of threat that requires not just technically or physically more people, it's required unity. We need to find a way that we all together can share the burden, we all together can be part of this challenge. And this is what we're trying now, to find a new model of getting Charedim to take part, which in a way that they're taking part even before October 7, especially with all these amazing volunteer organizations. That was, again, one of the things that we learned over the Simchat Torah was the huge contribution of the civic society in general, and specifically the contribution of some of the leading Haredi civic society organizations like Ichud Hatzala and Zaka and Yedidim and some others, they did a tremendous work that we can't even imagine what would have happened if without their contribution. But how can we really create a strategic plan that this kind of contribution and some other kinds of contribution will become part of the strengths of Israel?
Does that mean that you're going to see more Charedim in the army? Because I know there's a movement underway because of October 7th, even among the national religious groups that are resentful of the fact that they're in the army, they died in disproportionate numbers, and the Charedim have not really participated in the army, your movement with the Supreme Court. So how does your efforts jive with those tensions that are out there? How can we bridge the gap?
Okay, so in order to bridge the gap, we have to understand what didn't work till today. And just to answer the short answer for your question, yes, in a way, we will see more Charedim in the army. But what our strategy is to reframe the conversation, and instead of just talking about how can we get more Charedim to be in the army under the regular Israeli model, is how can we bring Charedim to answer some of the biggest challenges, not necessarily by the standard model that by age of 18 they're going to the army, because we all have to keep in mind that I'll get to the answer, but just an introduction to understand that the Haredi model, by the way, not just in Israel, all over the world, is that by the age of 18 and 20 and 22, I think all Haredi, no matter if you're living in Long Island, Lakewood, London, Bnei Brak or Yerushalayim, the primary effort is to create the next generation of Talmidei Chachamim, and that didn't change. Meaning, from our perspective, from the Haredi perspective, it's crucial for the future of the Jewish people to make sure that we will continue to create a generation after generation of Talmidei Chachamim. Saying that, meaning that, so to go back to this model, I'm afraid that this is not going to work, and I'm afraid that this is not even the right answer, because it's not just a question, how can we get more Haredim to the army? The question is, how can we create the strategy for the future of the Jewish people? And Haredim, and rightly so, feel that what they're doing and making sure that the Jewish people will continue to have thousands and thousands of serious Torah learners for the future of the Jewish people is crucial. And that's why what we try to do at our institute is to reframe the conversation. And instead of trying to do the effort that we try over the past 75 years and we never solved it, meaning how can we find a compromise or solution that Haredi will partially join the army in big numbers, is to reframe the conversation and to ask the question, what are the main challenges of the security of Israel, national-wise, meaning not just to ask how many more people we need in the army, which is definitely one of the questions, but to ask what are the new threat or the scenarios that Israel needs to be ready for them. So we assembled a team of the top leaders of the security institutions and top leaders from the Malal, the High Council of the National Security, the former head of Malal, the INSS and other people, and trying to ask the question, really, in what areas really we need an answer? Again, beside for sure the answer that we need more people at the army. And this is where we are trying to find, where can we find a special contribution from the Haredi society in these concerns? And we have three main directions. The main one is the home front, okay? It's clear that after October 7, we need to re-evaluate and to rebuild the strategy. How can we protect the Israeli home front? I think this is one of the main lessons of October 7. We weren't there. We didn't have any strategy. We were building on some way that the enemy will afraid to attack us, but they didn't really have an answer. How can we really protect? And the wake-up call was already by Shomer HaChomot 3 years ago, when some in mixed cities Arab were attacking Jewish neighborhoods, and was no answer by that. You know, people came and were desperate, asking the police and the army to come to protect them, and wasn't an answer. So we are building now a strategy, what really is required to rebuild the strategy of protecting the home front. We're working together with the Shomer Hadash, and we have two directions. One is the civic society solution. We built together a coalition of organizations that we were building a new organization called Mishmar Guard that recruits and train thousands of Charedim to volunteer and to protect first Haredi cities and neighborhoods. Again, this is something that we have to keep in mind, that if we are saying that in general there is a big challenge of how can we protect the home front in general in Israel, now what will happen, Khalila, in Haredi areas that we have so little, a very low number of people who have any idea how to hold weapons and how to hold guns. And if Khalila, God forbid, something will happen, we are going to Khalila witness a horrible situation. So again, one direction is really to bring thousands of Charedim, and we already we started right after, again, together with Shomer Hadash, we started right after Simchat Torah to build it, and together with the coalition of Jewish philanthropy, some top Haredi leading organizations, and including the New York Federation supporting, and the Paul Singer Foundation, and Ruderman, and some other Jewish foundations. We're building now the capacity of Haredi communities and Haredi areas to protect their own communities. Just 3 weeks ago, we had a training session with the Belz Hasidus. So we have really hardcore Haredi sectors and hardcore Haredi neighborhoods who are participating first time in taking care about the citizen aspect of protecting the home front. And the other part is to build together with the home front unit and with the Mishmar Halumi, the National Guard that's now built, and some others, to build a training program to train Haredim, whether under the army or under the police, to become home front fighters, what we called. And again, this is a great example about the opportunity, because right now we know, based on the analysis we got from the expert, that we will need at least 10,000 new soldiers or fighters or whatever to protect the home front, to increase the big number of the people that are already at the Magav. And here we are saying, even if we're not going to touch the yeshivalite, and as I mentioned, this is a very complicated situation to try to solve, and maybe we don't even have to touch it, but there is close to 90,000 Charedim over the age of 25 who are already working. They are not in yeshivot, so not touching the yeshivot system at all. But why these Charedim cannot participate? And we know that they are passionate to participate. Just right after the war, over 4,000 Charedim went to the army and really asked that they would like to participate and join. Unfortunately, the army only took less than 600, meaning almost 15% only out of the 4,000 people who wanted.
Why is that the case? Why didn't they take all of them? Why will they only take a small percentage?
Again, because the army was missing yet a real strategy or a real direction, just to take people without knowing what kind of training you want to give these people. And again, this is exactly where we are stepping in, meaning not just by creating coalition, is also to do the analysis and to find what exactly are the new areas that there is need. And again, the army was in the first 4 months, in the first few months of the war, there was just focusing on dealing with the tragedy and the war. But even those people who went to the army went for a very unserious training program. It's called Shlav Bed, Stage 2, which was like 2 weeks of training, not meaningful. And then some of them were integrated in some army unit and some not. What we're talking now about, and that's going to make the big change, is really to create a new way of training, meaning a new program of a serious training. But the beautiful of this model is that you don't need 3 years of service in order to be trained. Within a very short period of time, maybe 2 months, 3 months of intensive training, you can become a guard and a home front fighter, and then to contribute and to take the burden from the other reserve people. And I think this is one example, how can we bring Charedim from their position, not by asking them to change their position. So again, this is one part of the plan, meaning to address the challenges of the home front in a new way, and bringing Charedim who are willing to join, and really creating a new future for the security of Israel. The second part, as I mentioned already, is to really maximize the use of the civic society organizations by the Haredi society, and to become part of the strategy of the home front in Israel, meaning in cases of emergency and in cases of war, we know that there is tens of thousands of Haredi volunteers, that many of them are expert in providing first aid and different kind of services. And just we want to make sure that it won't be just a volunteer situation, that if something happened, so you will find these amazing volunteers and this amazing organization. It's going to be part of the strategy, how we are operating in a case of emergency and in case of a war. And these tens of thousands, again, will reduce the need of the army to draft more people, because you can rely on Charedim who are already big players in this field. So this is the second direction. Again, the first one is home front, citizen and army-wise, and the second one is to use the civic organizations as part of the Israeli power to address challenges in case of emergency and in case of security. And the third part is mainly in the technology part. This is something that we're working on the past few years to create programs for Haredi men, and not just Haredi men, also Haredi women, who can contribute to the challenges of the Israeli technology security challenges. So we just built it a little bit before October 7, a program called Code. It's an amazing program of Haredi men, mainstream Haredi men, ages between 21 to 28, who are getting a 6 months training program by JBH, which used to be Avratech. It's a Haredi organization who trains Haredim for high tech. So they're getting training program for 6 months. And then after the 6 months, they're going over the army test, and they are going to serve for 2 years at the army. And again, Zev, it's an amazing example. 4,000 Haredi men in 2 cohorts, one before October 7 and one after, were applying for this program, wanted to join this program. Again, part because they also see a future, not just by serving the army, but also getting the experience that the army can provide them.
And also parnasa, also a livelihood as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm saying that the results so far are amazing. The first cohort was 100 out of the 2,000 applications, so 120 were elected, and 88 of them were taken directly to 8200 unit. Some others went to some other intelligent units. The second cohort is close to 200. The goal is to get for 500 a year, which is, and again, it's a big shift and a big change. And now we're speaking with the army about some other units, not just the intelligence. There is some other units that the army can provide vocational training in professions that they are required and needed at the army, and they can serve. And again, Zev, this is a great example, because one of the issues that the army had to solve was that if you want to get mainstream Haredi to join this program, so they're asking not to wear uniform. I know that some people say, why not? But if you're living in the Haredi society and you understand the sensitivities, yes, so some people, and especially before October 7, wearing unit was maybe one step above what they can do. And the army agreed that these people can work in a Haredi, at the beginning, in a Haredi environment, with a Haredi staff, and they don't have to wear a uniform. And so that makes it easy to so many Haredim to join. I know that some Haredim at the past, when the army has a similar program called Shachar about the Air Force, so the army insists that they have to wear a uniform, and it worked. By the way, some got examination that they don't have to wear the uniform when they're going back to the neighborhoods. And again, that was part of the tension. But I think thinking out of the box and coming with solutions that we know that Haredi society can digest, it really brings the opportunity. And I just want to conclude. So in this area of intelligence, so you can get Haredi men, you can get Haredi women. There is today over 1,000 Haredi women, mainstream Haredi women, that they are working as citizens for 8200 unit, for a unit called OFEC at the Air Force, for the security industry. But this is, again, a huge opportunity how Haredi talent can contribute to rebuild the future of the security of Israel without compromising on their values.
Our guest is Eli Paley. He is the owner of Mishpacha Media Group, publisher of Mishpacha Weekly Magazine for the Haredi and Dati sectors. You can buy it in Israel and Hebrew. It's available in the United States in English. He's a businessman, social activist, chairman of the Paley Family Foundation, and he's here to talk about an initiative to integrate the Haredi community in the security establishment of Israel, especially post-October 7th. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. If you'd like to participate in our conversation, by the way, you can call us at 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925. You can email us, zev@talklinenetwork.com, zev@talklinenetwork.com. Just a program note, today is Sunday. We're also on WOR 710 AM at 9 p.m., as well as on WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, talklinenetwork.com. Our guest is Ilana Wernick. She's one of the top Orthodox Jewish scriptwriters, producers in Hollywood, and she has put together with others 1,000 Hollywood individuals who support Israel in light of the Academy Award fiasco, where you had a director get up and attack his Judaism and the Holocaust. Here you have 1,000 members of the Hollywood community that are supporting Israel. Ilana Wernick, part of that effort. Ilana Wernick, who started out, we're writing commercials for us at Talkline. Very proud of Ilana. You'll be able to hear us live at WOR 710 AM tomorrow night. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. This is the Talkline Network.
Chrmn, support Israel with a taste of the Holy Land. Men and women just love Evan Zahav's super smooth and soft arak, the Israeli rum. The Evan Zahav Brandy VSOP in a special gift box and the premium Evan Zahav Goldstone Grand Reserve Brandy represents superb Israeli distilling traditions and the finest natural spirits in oak barrels ever made, and makes for a great Shalach Manas gift. Jewish women work exceptionally hard this time of year and are the anchor of the home. What better way to show appreciation than with these exceptional drinks from Israel? If you're looking for other great choices for Purim, consider Etienne Francais VSOP Armagnac with subtle hints of spices, Etienne Francais VSOP Cognac, aged for a minimum of 4 years in oak casks, or Etienne Francais XO Cognac, aged for a minimum of 10 years in oak casks. The Cumba Chileana collections are the best kosher mevushal wines from Chile. It's a big hit and has become a favorite wine for special occasions. Its taste is full and steady with notes of blueberry, blackberry, and red currant. You'll also love the wild goat mevushal wines from Argentina, all kosher for Pesach and year-round. A happy Purim from Doina Limited, importer of the finest kosher wines, cognacs, and brandy.
In a place where tradition meets luxury. The Sleepy Hollow Hotel in Terrytown, newly renovated, featuring a stunning exterior, beautiful rooms, and an inviting lobby, a stunning pool, and a spa, plus a shul and a mikveh right outside. And executive host is Menachem Weinstock. Savor the flavors of Pesach with Chef Shimmy. Fresh food that will delight your senses. Vibes, Bridge Art Concert, Yom Tov Show, Carnival Games, Xylophone Play, 201-777-0212.
And I invite you to join us at Pesach Supreme. That's right. I will be there for Pesach Yom Tov. Made plans for Pesach, then please join us at the Pesach Supreme. Call 201-777-0212, 201-777-0212 for a Pesach Supreme you'll enjoy. We look forward to greeting you on Pesach.
Order in the court! Order in the court!
Did anybody call for a lawyer? Hey, I'm Leah D.
And I'm Zaki Tamir, and we host Let's Lawyer Up.
Zaki, let's tell our listeners the great news.
Hey guys, Let's Lawyer Up is moving to Saturday night. That's right, Saturday night from 10:30 to 11 p.m. right here on WSNR 620 AM.
And WNEW 102.7 FM, HD3. Hey, Zev.
Yes, Leah D.
Are you ready for Let's Lawyer Up to move to Saturday night?
You bet I am.
So get ready for Let's Lawyer Up. Hey, Zaki, anybody call for a lawyer?
Saturday night, 10:30, right here. Let's Lawyer Up. Be there.
Let's Lawyer Up is sponsored by Cambridge Tax and Estate Corp, providing easy-to-understand information about wills, trusts, and estate plans. Call 855-GET-A-WILL. That's 855-GET-A-WILL to set up a free 10-minute phone consultation.
Hi, New York. This is Michael, founder of My First Pistol, your premier firearm consultants in the Big Apple. With crime and anti-Semitism on the rise, ensuring your safety and the safety of your family has never been more crucial. And that's where exercising your Second Amendment rights come into play. Navigating the complexities of acquiring a legal firearm in New York City can be cumbersome and daunting, but fear not. My First Pistol is here to streamline the process for you. We're dedicated to guiding you smoothly from A to Z, making sure you feel supported every step of the way. We proudly serve all 5 boroughs in the Long Island area, making sure everyone has access to our expert guidance. To get started, you need to be over 21, have no felony convictions, and a legal resident of New York City. Looking for a concealed carry license, home premise, or a rifle shotgun license, we've got you covered. Plus, with our money-back guarantee, your satisfaction is our top priority. Don't let the bureaucratic hurdles keep you from protecting your loved ones. Visit us at myfirstpistol.com or give us a call or text. Journey together, because in New York City, being prepared is not just wise, it's essential. Thanks for listening, New York. I'm Michael, ready to empower you at My First Pistol. Never again is now.
Please welcome the 110th mayor of the great city of New York, Mayor Eric Adams.
One of my favorite radio shows. Always good speaking with you, Zev. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're giving away a $100 gift certificate for groceries at the Q Kosher Supermarket in Fresh Meadows, New York. We're also going to give away a $100 meat certificate to use at the Q Kosher Supermarket 176-19 Use at the Q Kosher Supermarket 176-19 Union Turnpike in Fresh Meadows. Send me an email to zev@talklinenetwork.com. Put down Q Kosher in the byline. Tell us you want to win the groceries or the meat. We're going to pick a lucky winner in both categories. That's zev@talklinenetwork.com. You must include your name, address, and phone number in the email as well. That's Zev at TalklineNetwork.com to win either a $100 gift certificate for groceries or a $100 gift certificate to meet to the Q Kosher Supermarket in Fresh Meadows, New York.
Hey, it's New York Times bestselling author and ghostwriter Michael Levin, and books are my babies. Here's an amazing idea for a gift for a loved one or friend, or perhaps for yourself. A family memoir, a business book, or any other kind of book written and published just for you. My company, Jewish Leaders Books, offers ghostwriting, publishing, marketing, and distribution of books onto Amazon and through Simon & Schuster, distribution into brick-and-mortar Barnes & Noble bookstores and even into airport bookstores. You can get a framed photo of the cover design to give as the perfect gift. To learn more about how Jewish Leaders Books can get your book done for you or for a friend or loved one, contact my friend Zev Brenner at 212-769-1925, extension 100, or drop him an email at zev@talklinenetwork.com. Again, that's 212-769-1925, extension 100, or write to Zev at zev@talklinenetwork.com, and we will get your book going for you.
Just want to tell you that this Monday night between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m., join us for a live broadcast. We'll look at the demolition of the Chrmn Anshe Lubavitch in Borough Park. Usher Glick, the Gabbai and board member of Chrmn Anshe Lubavitch, will talk about what's happening, why the shul was demolished, what all the brouhaha is all about. We hope to have other people as well. That's Monday night. Make sure you tune us in live here on WSNR 620 AM and WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, as well as TalklineNetwork.com. And to all Upper West Side listeners, if you want to join us for Minyan this morning, Purim, 9:40 a.m. at the Vorhan Shul, 303 West 91st Street in Manhattan.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
And we're back. Eli Paley joins us. He's the owner of Mishpacha Media Group, publisher of the Mishpacha Weekly Magazine, available in Hebrew and English. He's a businessman, social activist, chairman of the Paley Foundation, Family Foundation, which supports and promotes Torah centers and social initiatives in the Charedim community. He's a member of the Jewish Funders Network and is active as several philanthropic organizations. But his new initiative as part of the Paley Family Foundation is to integrate the Charedim community into the security situation. So I was impressed by what I heard, Eli, and I think it's a great idea. So basically speaking, you would like to see the forward Charedim should either be 21 and 25 before either being part of the army or a homeland security unit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that this is where I can see an immediate change. Meaning some of the things will take time that we will see change, and just Zev, if we will see, let's say, 10,000 Charedim over the next, 3-5 years, participating in the home front, and that will become a norm in the Haredi society, then even some other programs that may be more relevant to younger Haredi people. And let's be honest, we know that there is some young Haredi boys that army can be for them a great solution once it will be done in the right way. Meaning there is the standard boys who are sitting and learning in yeshiva, and yeshiva is the only place for them. And as I said, we see it as part of as a national mission to make sure that the yeshivot will flourish and we will have more and more Torah learners. But there is some Haredi boys that are even younger boys who will need a different kind of institution or solutions. And today the army is not really a solution. Yes, there is some programs at the army that was geared for this kind of boys. There is Netzach Yehuda and some others that originally people believe, including some of Haredi leaders, that can be a solution for these young people, that they can contribute to the security, but also getting an opportunity to serve and to be in a place that can really help them to develop their personality and experience. But over the years wasn't so successful.
What about Nachal Haredi? What about Nachal Haredi? Nachal Haredi.
Yeah. It started by Nachal Haredi, then called Netzach Yehuda, and there is today some other programs of the army. Some of them are very good ones, and I can tell you from experience. I have a brother who used to work at the Zoharim, which is It's an institution for kids from Haredi community that went off the derech, and they're doing a tremendous work. Of Grossman is the head of this yeshiva, this organization, and I think part of their success that they are sending most of their alumni to the army, and you can see the difference, meaning those kids who went through this process and then went to the army with the right preparation made a huge change by their own lives. So there is no question that there is some segments in the Haredi society, and not just kids at risk, even standard boys who are, for some reasons, cannot fit to the regular system, that if we would have an ideal a frame or ideal program like HESDER, can be a great answer for these boys, but that's required a very long process of creating to build it in the right way. Unfortunately, over the past years, it didn't work so well. There is today some effort, some attempts in the Haredi society even to create this kind of solutions. There is even some HESDER, Haredi HESDER yeshivot. And again, as I was saying, we need different kind of answers to different kind of boys, and we need different kind of answers for the needs at the army. So I believe, yes, even the mainstream army service can be relevant to some Haredi boys, but in order that it will be successful, you have to make sure that these places will be something that the Haredi mother will feel comfortable to send her son to the place. And we know it's complicated because the army is not really built for Haredi environment. Okay, the army is doing a great work. And in the past few years, even some of the religious Zionist boys who are going to the army facing some challenges by the change that happened at the army with mixed gender service, with some liberal progressive agenda. And again, it's complicated. This is part of our situation. So yes, I believe that over time, if we will see in the areas that we are now trying to push, we will see big numbers of Haredim participating. As I think that can also lead to a situation that we will say we will build frameworks for Haredi, young Haredim, that the army can be a combination between army and yeshiva can be a solution for them.
Now, let me ask you this. There is, again, because of the war, things have been deferred, but there is, you hear the murmurings, you hear the tensions, and people saying the Charedim not in the army, and you have the political landscape. Now, what you're doing, I like what you're doing. It's integrating them in a smart way, but with all the politics, can that derail some of the things that you're doing now?
Yes, that's the main fear. That's the main fear. Yes, as I said, I'm working with a deep sense of mission that we cannot give up of integrating Haredim with the security. But once it's becoming again a political dispute and fight, and people that they won't try really to do it in order to address the challenges of the security. They will try to do it in order to continue the battle with Israeli identity, with some political agenda. That's I'm really afraid. And I'll give you, Zev, just one example. Shachar Kahol, or the Blue Shachar, that started, I think, over maybe 15 years ago, maybe even more, I'm not sure, by Aluf Shkedi, by the Air Force, was a very successful program. Thousands of Haredim participate and get an opportunity to get a high-level vocational training in some technology areas and serve the army, and that was really ideal. Once Lapid came with his agenda to attack the yeshivot, I think that was the main reason why Haredim stopped to go to the army. Haredim, as long as Haredim felt that this is a personal a choice that I'm making, and I feel it for myself, at that stage in my life, I think it's an opportunity that I can go and do it. Once that became an agenda to attack the Torah system and to attack the Haredi system, so a normal Haredi will say to himself, no, I'm not going. And this is what I'm really afraid that will happen. I'm doing a big effort also to keep a conversation and dialogue between some of the leaders of the secular movements to try to sell them or to try to share with them this vision, and so they will buy into it and they won't go back to the old battle and the old
Are they buying
fight.
into it? I mean, are they working with you? Do they like the idea?
Definitely yes. Again, it's very challenging. But once I'm not coming with saying, Charedim, we're different. I'm saying, no, let's work hand to hand. I just got a call from one of the main supporters of the Israeli protest. I don't want to mention his name because he didn't give me a permission, but he's a leading a businessman and entrepreneur, and he was the big supporter of the Achim Laneshek. How you say it in English, Achim Laneshek?
Brothers in Arms, is that?
Yeah, Brothers in Arms. The big movement, of the protest, and he was supporting some of the big demonstrations. And he called me after listening to one of the interviews I gave, and he said, "Eli, let me know how can we help? How can I bring my people from Brothers in Arms and some other leaders of the protest and see if there is anything we can help?" Meaning, once you are coming and accommodating and coming really with a sincere sense of how we can work together. So I believe that, yes, we can create a coalition of different people who really concerned about the future of the security of Israel and creating this opportunity. But you're definitely right. I'm really, really scared about that the political tension will take us a few steps back.
I've been reading about the political dissension, and this is a discussion they want to have about the participation of Charedim. Then I read your initiative, and I said, wow, what a wonderful idea. But the question is, can it permeate the society, the Israeli society, where it becomes acceptable, where Charedim would participate, but you're working on a different way of doing, whether it's 21, 25, home front. These are all ideas, national service. This is what you're doing. So this is something which I think is important. You have all the Rosh Yeshivas, the Hasidic Rebbes, are they all on board with you?
We are having conversations with leading Rabbonim to get their input. But so far, again, I met with a few of the leaders. Some of my team are in a constant relationship and conversation with even with Haredi politicians, Haredi leaders. And in general, I think that there is a common agreement that we need to find solutions. By the way, we need even to find solutions to reduce the tension or the pressure from the political side, meaning saying that Charedim workers will go to the army, will have the Haredi society also to protect the yeshiva system. Because once we are showing that, okay, the army is really requiring thousands of new people to join, but and the pressure is the standard the model is, okay, how can we get more Charedim in the age of 18? But if we want to preserve the yeshiva system, and we are coming and showing that we are ready to go and to take care about this issue, and then to exempt the yeshiva, that will make it easier. I just want to mention, Zev, and I think I mentioned to you in our pre-conversation, that part of our effort is not to make it as a Haredi initiative. We want to make it as a national initiative. So this initiative was supported with the leadership of Eric Fingerhut and the Jewish Federations Network. I insist to have them as partners, not just because we need their funds. Our Family Foundation is supporting this kind of initiative, because I felt that shouldn't be a Haredi initiative. That should be the Jewish people initiative to finally find a way how we, from all sectors and all segments of the Jewish community, are joining forces to create a new future for the Jewish people. And that's why we feel that having the JFNA, the Jewish Federations of North America, participating strategically and getting involved is really to create this coalition and really to build the trust between the different sectors. This is not just a way to find maybe a shortcut. How can we find maybe something that Haredi will do something, but it won't be meaningful? No, it's a real long-term strategy to strengthen the future of the security of Israel.
Then you also wear the hat of the chairman. You're the owner of Mishpacha Magazine Media Group. Are you using the publication to also get this idea across to the Haredi public?
Absolutely. We published 2 months ago. We published an editorial in Mishpacha addressing this issue and trying to create the awareness that I just want to explain. When you're coming to the Haredi people and to this kind of a conversation and say, are you ready to have the conversation? How can we participate in this security? And the first thing that they have in mind, so you want to destroy the yeshivot, so then immediately you're losing them. But if we're saying, no, we are here because we all coming from the same attitude of supporting Torah and appreciating Torah and doing whatever we can do to continue to support Torah. And by saying that, and still we want to find a way that we can contribute to the security and it's doable, this is the way that we are building the conversation in a different way. So yes, we address this in a very long and deep conversation by the editorial of the Mishpacha in Hebrew. We got a great feedback from the Haredi people because finally they see a hope, because everybody after the October 7 wanted to participate in a way. And you saw the thousands of Haredi volunteers who went just to hug the soldiers and to make them barbecue and to bring them food. And you saw Haredi women going to Bemet. It was amazing to see Haredi women from all sectors going to help and to join and to create partnership between Haredi women and wives of people at the reserve. That was amazing to see. So you see that there is a big passion by the Haredi society to be part, but we have to make it in a way that they won't feel that this is a threat on their values.
October 7 was a major catalyst in that. And I heard a wonderful story that one of our guests said that a car pulled up in front of an army base, and soldiers and the Hasidic boy gets out with the payas and brings a bag, goes, here are my toys, my presents that I got him. So this is all I have to give you. And the soldier's almost in tears because he's giving him the snacks and his other things that he had. It's a wonderful story. I think October 7th saw that change. Do you have any opposition in the Haredi community to your plans?
For sure. There is some of the extremes that whatever you will do, they won't be happy. And especially when it gets to the issue of the army. So there is some voices at the Haredi society who are trying to do whatever they can do to try to pretend that like you are coming with an agenda to change the Haredi society. And, we got used to it. I'm over more than 30 years in the field of the journalism and the publication work, and yes, I got used to it. By the way, I'm trying even to treat those people in respect, meaning even some people who are coming with this attack, I'm always saying we have to listen carefully about their concerns and to address the concerns, meaning not just to say, so you're the old-fashioned Charedim, we are more, Charedim, open-minded Charedim.
Inclusive Charedim, right?
No, I'm always saying even those people, I agree with their concerns, meaning even the extreme Haredi people, their main concern is my concern, to make sure that Khalila, nothing will change in the Torah world and we won't hurt the Haredi Torah system. I don't like sometimes the way that they're acting. I don't like sometimes the way that they're taking things out of context. But in general, again, the concern is something that we are addressing as well. We take it very seriously. And I believe that this is the only way that you can create this kind of conversation.
Are you also planning to try to shape the opinion of, let's say, the non-Orthodox community in the United States to share with them this initiative because there is a perception Charedim are not helping Israel? Are you going to be reaching out to them as well?
I'm doing right now this effort by talking to you, Zev, and bringing this voice out there. Really, it wasn't easy for me to start this conversation at 7 o'clock in the morning in Israel, especially after Shabbos. But I really feel you're absolutely right that part of our mission is not just to come with the program or some plan or some policy paper, is really to create this conversation. And back, as I said, this is why I insist to have this kind of partners like Eric Fingerhart and his organizations, the New York Federation, some other Jewish organizations abroad. And part of the effort and part of our investment is also to create the messages and to create opportunities to speak about it, because you have to make sure that it's something that people will buy into it, people will appreciate, people will feel that finally we are coming with the sincere meaning to create a partnership and opportunity. But you have, in order to bring this voice, you have to make sure that people also understand the complication and the Torah values that are part of Haredi concerns, because otherwise they will say, so what's the problem? So go to the army. If you really want to go, please go to the army, and to explain, yes, we want desperately to take part in the Israeli security and to support the soldiers and to show their appreciation, but also we have to make sure that we're addressing some other concerns about the future of the Jewish people. And this is, from my perspective, the only way to create a better future.
And I want to thank you for your initiative. And if we could be of any help, and we'll have to have you on over more often to talk about it, because something which is going to take time for people to learn about, to participate in. So I thank you for the initiative, Eli, and we hope you join us again.
Zev, thank you so much for having me and for the great work you're doing for the Jewish people. I'll be always happy to join you and to continue the conversation. Thank you, and Purim Sameach.
Chrmn Sameach, and we just got to integrate, all of us, we're all one people, and we all have to work together, and it means accommodation and working out compromises, and I think this is what you're doing, and kol hakavod, and much continued success.
Thank you. And have a good night.
Eli Paley is the owner of Mishpacha Media Group, and his new initiative as part of the Paley Family Foundation is to bring unity, to bring the Charedim into the security establishment in Israel. And you're listening to the Talkline Network.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.